The Kingscourt Line, also known as the Kingscourt Branch Line, Navan to Kingscourt Line, and North Mead Line, was a railway line that went from Navan Junction Station to Kingscourt Station. It was originally opened as an envisaged Dublin to Belfast main line that went via Carrickmacross and Armagh rather than Drogheda and Newry. However, only the Clonsilla to Navan section was built to mainline standard, and the Kingscourt to Carrickmacross section was just never built. The cheaply built line is characterised by its excessive amount of level crossings, all of which, apart from the one in Wilkinstown, were operated by the train crews. The line's closure, in 2001, was probably a result of two factors: the ILDA driver strike the year prior, which caused the 5 days a week service to be reduced to a weekly service, and the 32km/h speed limit, which was quite slow. The closure is quite strange though, as it was still a profitable service. The Kingscourt Line was opened in two parts as an extension from the Dublin and Meath Railway's 1862 built Navan to Clonsilla line, going from Navan Junction Station to the newly built Kilmainham Wood Station. It was opened by the Navan and Kingscourt Railway in 1872. The second part went from Kilmainham Wood Station to the also newly built Kingscourt Station and opened in 1875. The Midland Great Western Railway later bought the Dublin and Meath Railway and Navan and Kingscourt Railway in 1888. It was proposed to join the track to Carrickmacross Station, but this never came to fruition. On the 1st of January 1925, the line became part of Great Southern Railways. In 1939, the line started doing freight services from the British Plasterboard gypsum mine in Kingscourt to Dublin Port. On the 2nd of September 1939, all services in Meath were suspended due to the emergency. All railways in the Irish Free State were nationalised under Córas and Éireann on the 1st of January 1945, and by the 2nd of September 1946, services resumed. Only 1 year later, in 1947, as part of Córas and Éireann's rationalisation plans, passenger services on the Clonsilla to Kingscourt line ceased, with the Clonsilla to Navan section closing completely and track being lifted in 1963. Freight services to Dublin Port had to be redirected to the Irish Cement Platen Works in Drogheda. The gypsum freight services were the only trains around Meath for 30 years, until trains transporting lead and zinc from Tara Mine in Navan commenced in 1977. On the 2nd of February 1987, all Córas and Éireann's rail responsibilities were passed to Éireann Road Éireann, a subsidiary of Córas and Éireann. An experimental timber train ran from Kingscourt in 1994. However, this was never repeated. In the mid-1990s, newer locomotives such as the 121 and 141 class replaced the 001 class. On the 30th of October 2001, the last gypsum train ran from Kingscourt, and the line closed. The last ever train on the line was a weed spraying train on the 7th of June 2002. The line was later disconnected sometime around 2007. The line wasn't lifted for a possible chance of reopening. In November 2005, the Irish government's Transport 21 strategic plan recommended reopening the Clonsilla to Navan line in two phases. Phase 1 was completed on the 3rd of September 2010, and Phase 2 is expected to be completed by 2030. In 2020, sections of the Kingscourt line started to be lifted for a rail trail from Navan to Kingscourt. However, some people still have hope it will reopen. The start of the line was the terminus of the Dublin and Meath Railway's Clonsilla to Navan Junction Station, where it joined with the Dublin and Drogheda's Railway's Drogheda to Oldcastle line. The station was the larger of the two stations in Navan, boasting 4 platforms and a goods shed. It was opened in 1862 and closed in 1958 with the closure of the Oldcastle branch line. Only the goods shed remains today. The next stop is Proudstown Halt, which was built to serve the Navan racecourse. There was only a single platform with no building there. It opened in 1914 and closed in 1939. Only the track of this halt remains today. Next is Gibbstown Station, located in one of the very few remaining areas where Irish is a commonly spoken language. It was located on the R163 road and had two platforms, one of which was a goods platform. It also had a building, wooden shelter, goods shed, and passing loop. It was opened in 1872 and closed in 1947. Only the track survives, excluding the passing loop. After these is Wilkinstown Station. It is located on the R162 road and had one platform, a station building, a goods store, signal box, a goods bank, and a passing loop. It opened in 1872 and closed in 1947. All but the signal box, goods bank, and passing loop remain, with the station building now a private residence. Just past the halfway point is Nobber Station, located just off the R162 road. It had one platform, one building, two goods sheds, one with track inside, and two sidings. It opened in 1872 like the others and closed in 1947 with the end of passenger service. Almost everything apart from the sidings remain, albeit in very derelict condition. Here's the original terminus of the Kingscourt Line, Kilmainham Wood Station, located on a local road between the R162 road and L6802 road. This station had two platforms, one building and one goods store. It opened in 1872 and closed in 1947. Everything still remains, with the building being a private residence and the goods store now being a store. Here was the final terminus of the Kingscourt Line, Kingscourt Station, located on the R179 road, containing a two-storey building, large goods shed, one platform, a gypsum loading pad, run-round loop, and a siding. It opened in 1875 and closed in 1947 to passengers, but remained in use as a freight station until 2001. The building was restored in 2005. The goods shed is owned by the county council. The gypsum loading pad is used for road haulage instead of rail, but the track is gone.